Welcome everyone. For this week, you're going to be having your midterm exam. Midterm exam is going to be going until Saturday night. We're going to be looking at chapters 11 and 12. So let's go over your midterm and what you might see on your midterm exam. Now, your midterm exam is going to be looking at 25 multiple choice questions. You get one attempt at it, so when you start it, you must end it at that point. It's basically an extension of your quiz that you've taken. Just a much easier extension. A much lengthier extension. Your quiz is usually 10 questions. This is just going to be 25. I don't take the same questions, though, from your work, so make sure to note that. So some of the questions you might see on your midterm. Let me get it open here. All right, trade is generally harmful if there's large disparities between countries and wages. Is that true or false when you look at trade? Question 2, you want to look at the gravity model and a characteristic that really attends the effect the probability of trade between those two countries. So focus on the gravity model and some of the characteristics. Question 3, what are the benefits of international trade? Question 4, free trade and globalization. What does it cause when you look at trading? What are some of the advantages of free trade and globalization? Question 5, why are some countries able to raise their pure capita income levels with trading? Why can developing countries do that? Question 6, if you look at a country that has two products, two countries, what can international trade lead to? It's going to be influenced by output, you'll notice. Question 7 looks at the Ricardian model and why is there differences in comparative advantage when you look at the Ricardian model? Why is there a difference with comparative advantage? Question 8 looks at tariffs and why a country would actually look at utilizing a tariff and how it influences consumer and producer surplus. But make sure to focus on the higher price that's involved with a tariff. Question 9, looking at the specific factor model. What is labor defined as in that model? Question 10, international borrowing and lending. What is this classified as? International borrowing and lending. Question 11 is looking at external scale economies and international trade. How is a larger country affected by that? So what happens to competing firms in that example? Question 12. What is trade liberalization? How's that affected with tariffs and the rates that are charged? Trade liberalization. What are some of the effects with that? Question 13 looks at specific tariffs and the calculation of those tariffs. Question 14 looks at the Leontief paradox. What does it focus on? Labor and capital intensity. What's the focus on that with this paradox? Question 15 is another example of international trade within the Ricardian model. And why do governments restrict some imports of these goods and services? 16. The basic economic case one can make for active industrial policy involves. What is the main reason why industrial policy helps influence our economy? What's the main focus of that? 17. External economies of scale. If you look at external economies of scale, where is that present at? What market structure do you focus on with that? Question 18 looks at positive externalities and how that's influenced with the role of the government. Question 19. Capital markets and the infant industry argument. What are the challenges with the capital markets? And you have these markets that have just started. So focus on the infant industry argument in your example. Question 20 looks at the importance of the infant industry argument. What are some of the importance of this? Question 21 looks at the learning curve. And it looks at the relationship between cost and output with the learning curve. Question 22 looks at terms of trade and really the definition of terms of trade. What's it looking at? 23. Two countries engage in trade with scale economies and they're monopolistically competitive. What are the benefits of that? And what are they likely to be trading in? What type of industry? Question 24 looks at the HO model in relative trade distributions with income levels. How does it focus on low-skilled workers in that model? And the last question. After 1950s, most countries' production being used is basically what? So the proportion of most countries' production is focused on what? Is it increasing or decreasing? Now make sure to note the exam's going to tell you that you can save and do it later, but that's not the case because you have to actually focus on starting it and you have to stop it at that point.